What's good, y'all? No Mercy, Trap New York shit, NoMercyTV.com. Let's talk about a few things. We're gonna talk about a few things tonight. You feel me? First thing we're gonna talk about this Eminem and Joe Budden shit, man. It's a lot of things with this, man. It's a lot of things. First off, Joe Budden automatically takes an L. Automatically. Rap rules. You get dissed, you diss back in a rap. You understand? I've never heard of getting dissed in a rap and responding in a 90-minute podcast. You understand? That's just never been like, you can compress that into 4 fucking minutes and make a diss record. Or if you're gonna rap 6, 7, 8 minutes, you feel me? Like, you can compress all that and give us something to really, like, you know, nod our heads to and shit like that. But I mean, the podcast is cool for information, but I mean, like, who's gonna watch that shit more than once? You understand what I'm saying? The info's out there, it's cool, but it doesn't really get the job done, man. You feel me? Now, the problem that I have is because Joe Budden is visible on social media, people give him, people's perception of how important he is kind of overshadows how important he really is, like, to the industry as a whole and to the world and what's, like, really going on. Like, Joe Budden is really like a small, I don't want to say a small speck, but like, he don't really count in, like, the overall shit of what's going on. Like, when you talk about a person like Eminem, right, who did records like Mosh, where he's pushing a certain political agenda and trying to help us as citizens, you understand, Joe Budden hasn't reached that level yet. You understand? He's popular. I'm pretty sure all of the industry knows who he is, but he's not on that M level of notoriety yet. So to say that because he's retired, he can choose winning, you know, winning where he wants to engage, and it's like, bruh, not that he not up there, son. He not up there. Pen-wise, one of the best. I'll give him that all day. You understand? Pen-wise, when it come to, you know, being able to rap, you know what I mean? But let's not act like you niggas is sitting here bumping Joe Budden records 24/7, like, unless you like fucking depressed or some shit, because that's who his core audience is. That's who he makes his music for. You know, Joe Budden, when it comes to, like, just overall music, like music you could really, like, nod your head and just, like, bump anywhere, Joe Budden don't have many records on that level. You know, people was comparing projects. Like, I mean, when you look at a project like M's Recovery, to me, that's better than pretty much all of Joe Budden's catalog. And I mean, like, when it comes down to content, rapping, subject matter, the different topics that M is covering, and not just what he's covering in his life, but the way it can relate to people that's going through similar shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like Joe Budden has an album that's even on that level. You know, so I don't want to really get too crazy in depth into Recovery. I mean, the shit came out in 2010. If you haven't heard it in its entirety by now, I mean, the proof situation, I'm pretty sure everybody can relate to losing a close friend, being on drugs. Look at our current hip hop climate. All you motherfuckers can relate to being on drugs, right? The lack of appreciation, like, I'm pretty sure we all go through shit where we feel like there's a lack of appreciation, whether it's at a job, family, friends, peers, whatever. You know, so it's stuff that people on all levels can relate to. And I mean, like, not just white people, not just black people, but people who just live regular everyday life. You understand? There's shit on that album that you can relate to. And Budden is more, he don't get it twisted. When it comes to content, he does have things that you can relate to, but I mean, like, his stuff will be hitting bar-wise or content-wise. It's not stuff that you can just, on a good day, you're going to go, like, you having a great day. You're going to go listen to a Joe Budden album. I can't do it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I throw on a Joe Budden album, it's instantly going to put me in a dark space and have me thinking about, and me personally, I like darker music. You feel what I'm saying? Like, Mood Music 4 and Mood Music 3 are my favorite projects from him. But they also consist of darker music. Like, that's, you know, stuff that I'm not going to just go to that type of stuff on a regular day. You feel what I'm saying? In an album like Eminem's Recovery, I could sit there, throw that on, listen front to back, not skipping nothing. You feel me? So, and that's just my personal opinion on, you know, when we talking this content shit. But he just isn't up there or established to where he could just sit this one out. You know, now when he says diss me again outside of your album rollout and I'll respond, the Chloroseptic remix, Kamikaze. Now a third record has to be made for you to respond. I mean, when did the rules change? Like, if you're in a fight, a nigga gotta hit you 3 times before you decide to fight back? What we doing here? This is hip hop. This is the school of this. Like, we from this. You understand? This ain't back in the day when it took millions of years to go to the studio and respond to something. Like, you can instantly, Joe Budden said, he heard the record and in his mind he started rapping. I'm pretty sure in the instant he came up with like 300 or 400 bars that he could have said about him. You understand? So why didn't you just step in the booth and just let that shit out? You feel me? I can't get with the just the retirement excuse. Not with Eminem, man. Not with Eminem. Any of these other little niggas, if like 6ix9ine or one of these other niggas diss you, cool. You can play the retirement card on them because you're not within their field. You're not within they bracket. Like, you on a higher level than these niggas is as far as longevity, having put in work. But when the M's, the J's, and them type of niggas call you out, like, reminder, did you forget? Reminder happened. Nigga, Joe ducked that. Oh, you wait years to, like, come on, man. You feel me? So don't get it twisted. Joe Budden kind of got he don't got a reputation, but he got his times where he ducked the smoke. And you duck smoke from the biggest artists, J&M. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. But the podcast overall, it was cool for people that don't really have common sense. You know, the info that was put out there, I mean, what does it really play in the Joe Budden versus Eminem conversation? The Slaughterhouse situation has nothing to do with that. Em wasn't dissing you because of no Slaughterhouse stuff. Like, what? That don't have nothing to do with that. Em's not dissing you over business. Like, when you talk these business meetings and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure those meetings you was in there with Paul, probably never seen M but probably 2 or 3 times or something like that. You feel me? So that has no basis on the current issue at hand, which is, you know, M threw a shot because he felt you wrongly critiqued his last album. You know, so this is what he's doing. Like, it don't have nothing. I don't feel like it's anything beyond that. I don't feel like it's like him being emotional. You know, like I said in my last blog, he's passionate about his craft. So when he sees people like Joe Budden who have, you know, the nice little following, they on these shows, and, you know, he didn't just come at Joe. He came at academics. He came at Charlemagne for critiquing his work. You know, so this should tell you that his issue with you is, this is what it's about. It's about the critiquing, and it's like, when he says, yo, how you critiquing me when you don't even have no hits on the board? You feel me? Like, that's what the shot was about. So the whole thing about the business with Slaughterhouse, the lightly touching on the D12, how, you know, you kind of pretty much threw it out there that niggas from D12 is pretty much starving or whatever the case is. That didn't have nothing to do with that. And I mean, these are things that we already kind of understood. You feel me? Like, we know that there's some type of disconnect between M and D12. Like, the D12 hasn't even been on M's projects. Like, you haven't heard no Conniva, no Swift, no Bizarre. You know, of course he still rock with Mr. Porter because, you know, Mr. Porter a producer. So, but aside from that, there's been no D12 interaction with M. And you can see it. So to me, that was more so filler. Like, this was stuff that if you're a person who pays attention, you already know these things. You already see it for yourself. You know, the Slaughterhouse shit, completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. It feels like you used M taking his shot to get the Slaughterhouse bullshit off your chest. That's what it felt like. That's what it looks like. It don't look like you was trying to use that against him. No, it looked like we all know y'all four are all like passionate artists, like y'all niggas are serious about y'all bars and all that. But we also know that y'all talk y'all shit, and when things don't go right as far as business, y'all are guys that have been vocal about it, especially Joe and Royce. You know, so I'm not surprised that Joe is getting this off his chest, but at the same time, like, it's just like, what does it have to do with the M shit? You feel me? Like, where does Slaughterhouse come into play when it comes to M critiquing your album? I mean, when you critiquing M's album. You feel me? So, like I said, just felt like that was completely irrelevant. It was a few other points that was touched on, like with pretty much saying that M is like scared and like he's trapped in like a certain bubble and things of that nature. That may be true, because of course, like, yeah, it costs money for him to come out the house. He gotta have security and shit like that. But I mean, this is the biggest rap star in the world. Like, do we not know that this is how people in that particular position, like, this is how they move? You know what I mean? This never been a secret. You know what I mean? At least not to me. Like, if these new fans aren't hip to that, I mean, come on. You know, we've seen Drake moving like this. You understand? Like, when the Philly niggas went to press Drake when he was going back and forth with Meek, nigga was in a fucking a presidential escort damn near. You know what I mean? Like, with 2 cars in the front, 2 cars in the back type of shit. So, we already aware that this is how artists in that position move. You know, but aside from that, man, there really was no other points in the podcast that I felt were valid. You understand? It's just I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. It's a whole bunch of beating around the bush. It's a whole bunch of dancing. It's a whole bunch of just avoiding smoke. You feel me? And I don't have nothing against Joe Budden. You know, like I said, I feel like he's one of the best people to ever pick up a pen as far as, like, you know, people who write. But with this M shit, I'm feeling like maybe it's this new Spotify money, or, you know, these new deals and stuff that he's locking in, where, you know, he's feeling like he's too big to, you know, respond to certain shit. But, you know, I can't even say that, because this wasn't his position when Jay went at him. You know, when Jay threw the young ho, something's up, something, tell him ordinary Joe's button up, you know? I just don't get it. You know, I just don't get it. You know, I do feel like if Joe was to respond, him and M would have a great back and forth. Probably one of the best battles as far as, you know, rap goes and rapping ability. You know, even like when you're talking about the content between both of them, and he was, you know, talking about rap skill and how M is more of like, he's more of just a wordsmith who don't really say much. You know, M is like, he just mixes and matches. Like, he'll have an album that's like chock full of content, like Marshall Mathers LP, content all up and down that shit. Eminem show, content all up and down that shit. Recovery, content all up and down. Revival, content all up and down. And even Kamikaze, content all up and down. But he also has a bunch of albums where it's really just a bunch of rapping and not saying much. But I mean, I feel like it shows you that he can go both ways. Like, he can do an album like Relapse, which is like a horror movie album, as a horror movie music album. You feel me? Like, that's what I get from that. Like, there's not really much there in terms of substance and content, but it's still like dope rapping. The production is great. It's great music. You know, a lot of people say it's trash, but I enjoy it. You feel what I'm saying? But you can't be all content. You can't be all bars. You can't be just all music, because when you are all one thing, you get sectioned into a certain box where certain people is not gonna rock with you. You know, when you take a box like all music, take Pitbull, take Flow Rider. These are guys who every time they come out, hit record, hit record, hit record. So they got the music locked down, but there's no bars, there's no content. You know, when you talk people who are all content, Joe Budden, Common, Tyler Kweli, they get boxed off. You know, there's the content there, but the ability to make music, the ability to make hit records, they don't have. So they get sectioned off into that content box. You know, and just like similar thing with the bars. When it comes to the bars, punchlines, you get sectioned off into that Lloyd Banks, that Cassidy, that Fabulous box. You know, these guys have hit records, but they're not known for really making big, super smash hits. You know, so they sectioned off into their box. And when you're somebody like M, who shows that you can give the bars. You have albums where you're giving nothing but content. You can make good music. Same with Hov. Hov has the bars. He has the content. He has the music. DMX, it may just be street content, but it's content. Content, the bars, music. And that's how you become one of the greats. You know, even 50. Content and music. That nigga is not known for bars at all. He has some dope lines here and there, but as far as like them punchlines, like, he's not really known for that. You feel what I'm saying? But if you have at least more than one, I feel like you can become one of the greats. You understand? Like the people I just named. But if you're just focused on one aspect, then you're not going to be one of those top rappers. You feel me? So that's why I feel Joe Budden and M differ at. And overall, man, that the podcast, it just wasn't what I wanted to hear from Joe Budden. You feel what I'm saying? Like, for me, and you know, me being as smart as I am and knowing the things that I know and being able to see certain shit, that podcast did nothing for me. You feel me? Like, people were saying, yeah, he put the truth out, he explained certain shit, but there's certain stuff there that didn't need to be explained, man. You feel what I'm saying? Like, some shit was really just clear as day if you pay enough attention and you smart enough to see shit. But the rest of that stuff, it was just like, I could have did without this, man. Could have gave me the 8 minutes of just going in on the nigga and I'd have been satisfied, you know, just to hear that. But with that, it was just like, come on, man. You know, so my personal opinion, Joe Budden take the L in this one. You know, a lot of people not going to agree with me. A lot of people going to be mad at me, but it is what it is, man. Joe got to hold this L, man. You know what I mean? When it come to rap beef, nigga like Eminem come at you, I want to hear raps. Like how Machine Gun Kelly came, he rapped. You know what I mean? He got him on that one, but he rapped. You feel me? Like, that's what you got to do. Rap. You understand what I'm saying? It can't be, yeah, Machine Gun Kelly dropped the whole song in a video and Joe Budden did a 2-hour podcast. Like, you nigga did a diss track. Not even a diss track. He threw a couple bars at you. You went on a 2-hour rant. He got off 1 or 2 bars, you gave him a 2-hour rant. But he got to do another diss, a whole diss record, to get a whole diss record out of you. Come on, man. Could have compressed that 2-hour rant into a diss record. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts on that, man. No Mercy, Trap New York shit, NoMercyTV.com. Follow me on Twitter at NoMercy. All up, man. I'll holler at y'all later. I'm out of here.